Avidexpert, do you know the way to the Remake 2 trailer? Do you know the way, Avid? Avid. I know the way. I know the way to the Remake 2 trailer, Avid. Follow me, Avid, I show you the way. I'm fucking coming, dude. You are the meme lord. I am on the way. On a serious note, do you know what the RPD actually stands for? It's not Raccoon City Police Department. It's Remake 2 Project Delayed until 2055. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that satirical piece there. Well, I call it satirical, but maybe Resident Evil 2 Remake might actually take till 2055 to release. Maybe it's actually just a factual statement. But I hope you did enjoy it nonetheless. For now, we have fired Jeff, and we have hired Knuckles because he has shown us the way, and he actually made me a good script, this guy. Unlike Jeff, he's not total trash, and today I'm going to be talking about what to expect with the Resident Evil 2 Remake PC release. So let's start out with the first point. The fact that it's coming to PC, I mean, it's an assumption, isn't it? There's a huge lack of information. However, many people might be aware there are tons of ports and a lot of effort by Capcom currently to get all of their games onto PC. And they don't do shitty, terrible ports like Nier Automata, which is almost unplayable on PC. We were promised a patch for that. Year later, still nothing, you know. Capcom actually put some effort into their PC ports, with all of them being highly acclaimed, reviewed, and enjoyed by the fans. And considering that Capcom's put such a large amount of effort into developing the RE engine to work for both PC and console well, and the fact that they're also porting a lot of games to the PC, it is the most natural and logical conclusion that Resident Evil 2 Remake will be looking at a system-wide platform release. The most logical conclusion here would be that Resident Evil 2 Remake is going to be on the RE engine. I've already covered this in depth in previous videos, but because of that, I'm going to be using Resident Evil 7 as the comparison example to what to expect for Remake 2. So the first thing we're going to get into onto this point is how VR in Resident Evil 7 must have actually affected the development and the graphical fidelity of the game overall. Now, because I did a lot of research into photo scanning recently, I started to realize how high the polygon counts can be in rendered objects, and yeah, they can look extremely incredible. It's not just that, but it's also the fact that the VR team also needs to work through all the UIs and things, make sure everything lines up, and this just takes time away from development. Resident Evil 7 also did not optimize the VR very well, if you would. There was a lot of times the camera blacked out, which was very disorientating, among other things. So yeah, I think it was just kind of a tech idea, an extra kind of thrill for players to enjoy. There's one more fact that is pretty important, and that is the fact that Sony and Capcom seem to have some close ties, considering that Sony must have paid a lot of money to the Capcom developers to make it VR exclusive for their console only. Even after that contract has expired, we've been waiting for a little while, and it doesn't seem like any VR portion is going to be added into the base RE7 game, so I definitely don't think us PC users, even if it is possibly added into Remake 2, will be seeing it anytime soon. But you can also look at it on the other side of the spectrum, that Remake 2 might not actually use VR because they don't have any sort of exclusive deal with Sony themselves. Now, Resident Evil 7 was the first game using the RE engine. This means that it was a kind of touch and go process as it was for a lot of developers before them, and as I've covered in my earlier videos, they will have improved upon many things, figured out a lot of the kinks, issues, and other things that all needed templates, and now they've got a lot of more experience with their own engine, and they have it customized, at least I hope, to an optimal state. This works in two different ways. First, the graphical quality will increase. Come on guys, every single franchise you ever think of, the graphics increase as the games evolve. but also it means mechanically we might have access to all sorts of new entertaining and fun things. Now, considering all of the ports, at least to my knowledge on PC, as well as Resident Evil 7 run at a solid 60 FPS, that is definitely the target they're having to be aiming for to make the game as fluid as possible. A lot of PC players cannot stand 30 FPS. But if you consider all the ports being so well done, I do think the optimization for PC as well as the FPS will be customizable. And this leads me into my next point, which is how much more customization in the settings for the graphics there will be for the PC. So as you all know with Resident Evil 7, and this is kind of an industry standard thing to be honest for PC ports of games, they have access to all the extra post-processing like MSAA, FXAA, Bloom, all that good, beautiful, juicy, spicy stuff, and you can max it all out. And if you have got a really good PC, guys, you can actually use a program like Reshade to enhance all the game's graphics to an exact color design of your choice. And talking about injecting things into the game, because that's what Reshade is, it's like a shader injection tool, I wanted to get into my next point, which was mods. Now, mods were done in a very minor way for Resident Evil 7, and with my personal knowledge with contacts in the modding community, it seems like Resident Evil 7 was really hard to decrypt the files too. But some people did manage to make some small ones, and there has been a lot of experience learned along the way. And Resident Evil 2 is a much bigger and hype project than Resident Evil 7 was, and thus I think the modding community will be much more passionate, and with all the experience they already have as a foundation, there's a large possibility for complete overhauls or extended mods for the game. Now, Remake 2 is going to be a lot larger than the Baker environment in Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 7's environment is quite minuscule compared, and when you consider the fact that it's a remake, like I said, I'm going to assume they're going to expand the environments a little, not cramp everything up even more, and so the hard drive space will probably be larger for PC than Resident Evil 7 was. But on the other end of the spectrum, every game developer learns to compress their files each year much better, and so there's a possibility of that actually being the opposite, or it won't be as much of an increase as I'm actually expecting. Now, talking about the release date, and no, I'm not giving a release date for the game, nobody knows that of course. I'm talking about will it be released at the same time of the consoles, because as many people may be aware, in Japan they sometimes kind of release the games a little bit later on PC, or actually, to be honest, this is something that happens in the industry overall, like with GTA 5, we had it with Final Fantasy 15, and now people might be wondering, will the same thing happen with Remake 2? Considering Capcom has kept a multi-platform system release at the same time, and that might have sounded really elaborate, but all it means is they basically release on Xbox, PlayStation, and Windows all at the same day. They don't go, oh, PC gets it a month later. I'd assume Remake 2 is probably going to follow this trend, and it'll be released synchronized between all platforms. Something else people have to remember, and this is a fact, is that the game is going to be developed around consoles in mind. You have to remember that this is a console developed game, and it always has been, so that means that the hardware specs of the PlayStation 4 and also the Xbox will be the technological restrictions for how fast and how far the Remake 2 project can go. But considering that Resident Evil 7 looked so absolutely beautiful, I would still imagine we'll get some quite elaborate and aesthetic environments. I just don't think we're gonna yet get a Resident Evil 7 looking style game with an open world Raccoon City or something. However, we can still look forward, like I said, to all the mods that are possible, graphical enhancements such as the upscaling resolution on textures, as well as the fact that you get all the extra post-processing like I said before. So the PC version regardless will still look much better, and it'll run at a higher FPS. Now, one last issue I want to cover, and this isn't exactly related to the PC, but it's something that I keep seeing popping up and I just want to address it, is people keep saying that the RE engine can only work in first person view, and I'm not exactly sure where that perception comes from at all. The RE engine is just an engine, it's like any other engine. If anyone has any experience with, say, UE4 or the Crytek engine or Unity, you'll understand how camera placement works, and yeah, it has nothing to do with the engine. Like, you're not forced into a specific camera view. That literally makes no sense. So we really do not have any clue on what to expect for the camera view at all. I just hope you've enjoyed the video for now, guys. If you did, please leave a like and a subscribe. I would very much appreciate that to help me grow. We're still trying to get Jeff to the moon, so we're gonna need a little bit more to get there. And also, I've got a Patreon if you want to help support that too. Remember to share the video with your brother, sisters, uncle, grandma's daughter, because you probably don't even know them. And there you go, that's a great way to meet a bond, you know? You get to meet a new person. There you go. And I've also got a Discord link. All these will be below in the description and in my pinned comment if you want to go check them out, as well as a plethora of other videos.
And as always, the darkness starts to chill as the air gets abruptly colder, the light of the moon fading away, the blackness becoming deeper, all of the environment becomes unobservable. Wait, who the fuck am I?